everyone, my name is Nikki and this is my friend Laura.
Hi guys.
And today we are going to be doing a duo style, podcast style video about dating and relationships.
We're excited.
Laura and I are currently traveling around Europe together. We're currently in Nice, France. And
beautiful.
It's been such a good time. We've had like so many weeks to talk, like 3 weeks together already. We've been losing our minds a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm a podcast host, as you said, Nikki. I actually had Nikki on my podcast too a couple of months ago by now.
Mm-hmm.
And we did an episode together on how to create your best life. I think that's what we talked about. And so I have my own podcast show. It's called Unfuck Your Life. It's on Spotify. And I also do leadership and mindset coaching for female entrepreneurs.
I'm also going to leave the link to the podcast that we did film together. It was very fun. It was like the first time we officially met. I'll also leave the link to my jewelry line, Novi. If you don't know it already, go check it out. I gave Laura a pair of earrings when I first saw her.
And I cried. Happy tears.
Also, a little disclaimer before we get on to the tips.
Oh, yeah.
We are both straight and we are interested in men. So it kind of gives you like more of a context from our lens and our POV. Just wanted to say that, so like this applies to majority of dating, obviously. Let's get on with the very first topic, which is confidence and loving yourself. I think this is like the first most important topic to talk about because in order to date, you gotta love yourself first, and that's like the most important thing.
Yeah, feeling confident about who you are as a person and feeling connected to yourself rather than letting, other people and how they see you, how they treat you define how you feel about yourself, basically. So that's why confidence is kind of the foundation for dating.
I actually do have a full YouTube video on confidence, which I will link over here, and you could check that out. It goes way more in depth about you and your own confidence. But of course, that's the most important thing before a relationship. I'm sure some of you may have heard of like this 2 halves make a whole mentality, and this kind of mindset is honestly BS. It's so not true, and you should not follow it. See, you can't rely on other people to make you a better person. You can't go and find yourself someone that you're like, oh, okay, we'll build a life together and rely on them. It's not how it works.
It's really about not seeing yourself as lacking something, as being half of something. Like, you are your own person, you have your own life, your own interests, hobbies, friend circles. Like, you have your own life to live, and then you hopefully meet someone someday who doesn't complete you but who adds to your life, and you get to add to theirs rather than relying on them to fulfill your needs and to make you feel worthy, make you feel better, make you happier. Like, you create your own happiness.
One other thing I wanted to touch on in this topic is that if you're constantly looking, you're not going to find it, okay? There's this kind of thing that people say that it comes when you least expect it, and I think it's so true. I mean, it was the same for me, probably the same for you too.
Absolutely.
That's how relationships just come and go, And once you embrace that confidence of being okay by yourself, you're going to start attracting naturally the people that are better matches for you and have done that work on their own as well.
Exactly. So you essentially become magnetic to someone who sees you as a whole and who values you and who, as Nikki said, is compatible with you because you you basically don't rely on anyone. You don't need like a needy energy.
You're not lacking anything.
Exactly. You're not needy. You're not needing love from someone else because you give that love to yourself in the first place, and that makes you more attractive to other people as well.
Moving on to the next topic, it's going to be worthiness and standards, which I think is a big thing to talk about because nowadays everyone has huge standards, including like me and you. They're that big for a reason, and I guess we just wanted to touch on why.
Exactly.
It makes sense to have high standards. So obviously the more you value yourself, the more confident you become, right? You carry yourself differently, you interact with people differently, you're a new, better version of yourself when you're confident.
You also think of yourself differently, you speak of yourself differently. Like, you think and speak highly of yourself when you value yourself, when you know what you're worthy of, like you know how you deserve to be treated, and people feel that and pick up on that and treat you accordingly as well.
And remember, like, nobody else can decide what you're worthy of, only you can. So just think about that first. There's this quote that goes, "We accept the love we think we deserve." People kind of treat you how you want to be treated. I mean, we all know this from our childhood sayings, but It's true in relationships, especially.
It's so important to look at yourself first, to build a strong relationship with yourself, and to heal those past wounds from your childhood, from any previous relationships, even that you've had also friendships impact this. But mostly what you've been witnessing between your parents, how they've been interacting, their dynamic, and how maybe ex-partners have been treating you. Like if you have certain traumas, your childhood, your past really impacts how you're showing up. And you want to look at that and see if there's any limiting beliefs of I'm not worthy of being loved the right way, I'm not worthy of being treated the right way, I will never find love, I will never find someone who truly, like is compatible with me. Look at what's beneath the surface so that you don't attract someone who's giving you basically a reflection of what you witnessed or experienced in your childhood.
And also I think it's important to filter out the misaligned fits and not waste your energy on people who are obviously not the ones.
A really good thing to think about is would my future husband show up this way? Would he treat me this way? Like ask yourself, would my future husband text me or wife text me and then ghost me for a couple days straight and then come back around when they're feeling bored? Hell no, probably not.
Yeah, just conserve your energy and also stop chasing people when you can attract instead. In this day and age, everyone seems to have very high standards. Like a lot of people are working on themselves and then they expect high standards in return. And if your standards are so high, just think about, are you equally able to give that back to someone as well? By equally, it doesn't have to mean financially. You don't have to be making the same amount as your partner. Not what I mean. You can give that equalness back in very different ways. For example, if we're talking about a very traditional relationship dynamic, if they're the one paying the bills, what are you doing in return? Say men. Men are simple creatures. Men want to be respected, seen, supported. They want to feel needed. They want to feel valued, So there's things like words of encouragement that you could say.
Yeah, like I'm proud of you, or how was your day? How do you feel? Like men, we have to understand that men, if you're a woman watching this, when you talk to your partner, understand that they don't talk to their guy friends like we do to our girlfriends. They don't have someone they can share their emotions with and their fears. Men usually don't do that with each other, in their friendships. So you're his person to provide emotional support, hold space, tell him that you are proud of how he's showing up, how ambitious he is, how he's providing for the family.
You trust his decisions.
You trust his decisions, his leadership. You respect him and his decisions. Obviously, disclaimer, he has to have proven in the past that he deserves your unconditional trust in his leadership and him making the decisions. But generally speaking, they just need a little bit of affirmation goes a long way, essentially. A little bit of care, physical touch, whatever they prefer. We'll talk about love languages later. That goes a long, long way.
Moving on to the next topic. Values and life vision. Values include things like freedom, health, family, growth, success, and financial independence.
These are just some examples, obviously. You get to define your own values. These are great examples though for people to think about, how much do I value health, how much do I value freedom, flexibility, a certain type of a lifestyle, connection, what's more important for you, work or spending time with your partner. You get to define that for yourself first, and then you can see where your partner, the person you're dating, where they're at, so you can make sure that that's kind of aligned and similar, so that there's no disruptions dating moving forward.
And life vision includes things like where to live, kids or no kids, and type of lifestyle, a very healthy lifestyle where you go to the gym every morning at 5 a.m.
For instance, we're not doing that.
And if you want to be compatible for long-term relationships, you gotta make these things clear on the first date. Don't waste your time figuring it out, along the way.
Value yourself and your time and their time enough to be able to say, hey, look, I like you, we have attraction, whatever. We have great communication maybe, but our life visions don't align. We don't want the same out of life. We have completely different lifestyles where it's so hard to make it work. This doesn't lead anywhere.
I also think negotiables and non-negotiables are such an important list to kind of make for whether you're single or in a relationship.
What are you willing to accept? What are you willing to negotiate, and where you are willing to meet in the middle and find a mutual agreement, or where you're saying no, I'm not gonna even move this, I'm not gonna touch this is untouchable. Either this is a given and this is how it needs to be for me in order to work, or goodbye. And it sounds super rough, but The thing is, if you don't have those non-negotiables in place and stick to them, you will feel resentful in the relationship. You will build up this resentment towards yourself and the other person and the relationship as a whole. And that's gonna like really make it so toxic moving forward, because you'll always have in the back of your mind that there's something that makes you resentful towards them, and you'll snap at them, and like it will just show up in like small little moments in your daily life. So it's so important to not build up the resentment by having your non-negotiables, communicating them and asking them if they are okay with this.
Yeah, even like seeking clarity on things like needs.
Like, what are your own needs in a relationship? Like, in general in life, but also especially in a relationship. And then, like, your partner's needs. Like, what do they need and want from you to feel ultimate fulfillment in the relationship?
Watch their behavior, not their words. Are they showing up for you? Or are they just telling you they'll show up for you? Empty promises, guys. Don't trust people's words sometimes, because actions speak louder than words, as we all know.
It's really, really important to see how they're showing up for you, especially when things are maybe not as smooth sailing right now, like things are a little bit harder. Are they still showing effort? Are they still being consistent and communicating? Especially after the first couple of dates, even, like, I feel like a lot of people are putting a lot of effort in the first couple of days or weeks, and then like it slowly starts declines, and it's like, are they still like winning you over when you're already dating for like half a year or a year, right? Like, it's really about, are they consistently pursuing you and wanting to be with you and showing you the effort that you know that you deserve?
You don't want to fall in love with the idea of them, okay? See them for who they are now, not who you think they could be if they changed for you.
Don't fall for the potential, because what if the person doesn't change?
Also, you don't want to have someone who only gives you butterflies. Butterflies thing is like a kind of funny thing I've been hearing recently more. Like, if that person gives you butterflies,
it's
they're
addictive.
not the right one.
Yeah.
Because you're like chasing this, like, what are you, like, scared or something?
Yeah.
Like, you're always like nervous about going on a date with them. Like, I don't think it should be like that. I think you should be, you know, excited to see them and happy, but at peace when you're actually with them.
Feeling nervous feels very similar in your body. Like, it's a very similar experience. But if you feel almost scared, like nervous, like scared versus excited, like looking forward, like positive anticipation, then you can kind of tell, like, oh, they're almost intimidating you. Like, it's always going to be like you will feel unworthy next to them or for them. That's not a vibe.
Let's talk about some basic general green flags and red flags that we want to, you know, stay away from and attract. Green flags, starting off, we have peace of mind and reassurance. There's no roller coaster of emotions when you're talking to them. Continuous efforts and consistency beyond the first few weeks and months. So they're still trying after the third date, okay? They're still
winning you over every day.
Winning you over. Qualities like patience, compassion, kindness, ambition. It's kind of obvious, but like, you know, don't ignore those things. Encouraging you and supporting your decisions, also a big one for like someone who is a more of a long-term partner. I find those things very important. Red flags. Hot and cold treatment. Hesitancy and indecisiveness, the back and forth, you know, when they'll keep coming back and then they'll run away for a bit and then they'll come back. It's just so much back and forth that you don't want to deal with all of that. It's not worth it. Love bombing.
Giving you a lot of affection, attention, telling you how great you are, giving you all that you thought you would want and need, and then, like, crickets, basically. Like, they give you a lot in the first couple of days, even weeks, and then nothing.
Some people will use this as kind of like emotional manipulation in a way where they'll say I love you very early on, and it'll kind of make you feel forced to, or like guilt trip you into staying. Emotional manipulation and guilt tripping is something that we can come across more often than we think, even though like we may not know, but it's there.
It's usually not that obvious, especially when you're in it and you like that person and you kind of have a harder time like seeing it objectively.
Yeah, you don't want to have that blindness to them just because you like them. You got to get a reality check in a bit of a way, and you can even do that by going to your friends and asking them, hey, do you think that this is right? Because seeing it from another perspective may help. Lack of / poor communication is another red flag. I mean, of course, not texting you back for a few days, all that. Not prioritizing seeing you or spending time with each other. If it's really hard to see them, I don't think that's a very good thing. You know, you keep trying to like chase after them to make plans. I used to do that so much. don't do it. It's not
and
worth
it's
it.
about effort. Like, it's about looking at, okay, maybe it's not super easy to see each other because both have busy schedules or whatever, but then, like, is he or she still trying to go out of their own way to see you, or are they just talking about hanging out in person, but they never do because they're, let's say, texting to a billion other people, and you know, they have their priorities. So, like, you will feel if you're a priority or not. Like, you'll know.
Not proactively wanting to resolve conflicts. This is, I guess, further down the line, but
This is so huge. It's not just further down the line too, because even if you have like a little hiccup, let's say, like a disagreement that turns into a bigger thing for whatever reason, it's about being proactive about it and addressing it and saying, hey, this is how I felt, I got triggered, I'm sorry, or like, how can we solve this, or how can we, you know, both feel good about this, rather than ignoring it and acting like it's not there, like it's not happening. Like, that's so unhealthy.
Moving on, let's talk about attachment styles. I am not an expert again in this area. I think, Laura, you should take this one on.
Yeah, for sure. So there's different attachment styles in especially romantic relationships. One is being anxiously attached, one is being avoidant, and one is being securely attached, which is the goal. Like, that's the golden middle, that's healthy, that's where both people feel like they're individuals on their own, but they're choosing each other every single day to like co-create a life together, or to continue seeing each other, whatever the stage is. So when you're anxiously attached, you have usually like, generally speaking, lower self-esteem, you feel less connected to yourself, and you kind of seek the attention and validation from the other person. So you're almost programmed to hold on to them, cling onto them, and like kind of keep them, because that's what gives you safety and reassurance. Versus when someone is avoidant, they're usually also avoidant in their communications. Okay, but alone time is not even the indicator. It's more so the kind of staying away when there's some sort of conflict. Like, avoidant, like, oh, like, are they pulling away, not wanting to talk to you for hours or days? When
you know what I would do? Look out the window all sad and, like, hope that he noticed instead of, like, talking about my problem.
Exactly. So it's really about being proactive there.
Yeah,
and
you don't
like,
want to do that, because it gets on their nerves, it gets on yours. It's like you get on each other's nerves so easily if you're just kind of...
And avoidant is even more so removing yourself, like completely leaving, like or not texting back for a couple of days.
Taking a trip if you don't feel like you're happy with them.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, exactly. So
just for a bit.
It's really about like avoiding the confrontation. The confrontation and being with that person.
It's tough, but you gotta do it. You gotta do it, or else continuing on is going to be so difficult.
And also for avoidant attachment styles, usually they have a harder time opening up and sharing how they truly feel, how they truly think. It's hard for them to emotionally connect and become vulnerable with other people. Whereas when you're securely attached, you feel confident about yourself, you know who you are, and you're able to resolve conflict proactively, communicate consciously, share your feelings, also open yourself up emotionally to the person at a speed that feels healthy and like normal. Obviously, again, the golden middle is being securely attached and being able to give love and receive love in healthy ways. If you're anxious, again, it's usually about looking at the relationship with yourself and like, you know, building yourself up, having like a deeper self-connection, sense of confidence, self-esteem, self-worth. And when you're avoided, it's really about opening yourself up to others and like learning to do that and feeling safe doing that, rather than feeling safe just on your own so that nobody can hurt you.
And also something with the whole avoidance that I want to add is something that I've had in my experience was I used to be so closed up and wouldn't open up to the person I was dating, and like hid my feelings, or just like you know, would kind of act on my emotions and like bash on them instead of solving it and like solving what was, or talking about even what was bothering me,
bringing it up.
Yeah. So once I opened up to, you know, my feelings, and then we started talking about it, I kind of became a little too lenient on him, and it kind of went from being like
to the other side.
Yeah, it just immediately. So you want to kind of, you know, be careful of that, because completely depending on someone, from going like a super independent person to then depending on them completely, is there's like, you got to find the middle ground. Because
I had the same with my ex.
Yeah,
exactly the same thing.
Yeah, because it's a dangerous game. But
going from, in our case, obviously we're women, so going from hyper independent women to being overly dependent on someone, yeah, you really got to call yourself out and notice like, oh, actually I'm emotionally depending on them, like their mood determines my mood, or I'm always saying yes to whatever they're suggesting, like going there, like, you know, like still staying rooted into like like still being clear on what you truly want and who you truly are, and not losing a sense of self in the relationship, which I think is such a common thing for people who live together, travel together, spend a lot of time together. It's like still maintaining a healthy sense of self and what you want.
Exactly.
And being able to verbalize that.
Love languages is the next section. There's 5 different love languages. So the first one is words of affirmation.
So, for instance, if you are someone who loves to hear, you know, like compliments, receive compliments, reassuring words, it's like, I'm proud of you, or I love you exactly the way that you are, or I love how you always make me laugh.
Number 2, acts of service.
So, for instance, you're going out of your own way to make someone else happy and make them feel loved. So, for example, you know, your partner's car like needs a wash, so you're taking it and you're going out of your own way and make the time to get it washed because you know that they will be happy about it. So it's very selfless.
Third one is physical touch.
So anything from hugs, kisses, like cuddling, you get what I mean, like any physical touch, like holding hands, for instance, as well, giving a shoulder massage, anything like that.
Quality time,
which is basically being present with each other, like having time together. That's either like going for a trip or for a walk or just doing something like a nice dinner. It doesn't have to be crazy, it doesn't have to be expensive, it's just about the quality of the time,
how much time they're putting in you.
Yeah, the amount of time, but more so like how present you are, so like the quality,
true.
So like how much you're enjoying it, basically, and how present you are not being on your phone.
And last one is gifts.
So anything,
like materialized.
Yeah, material things, basically. Like I got us tickets for this concert, or which is more like an experience, but it's still you pay for it, or like a ring or a perfume or anything like that.
Yeah, so just be clear on like your love languages and ask them what theirs are, and it'll make it easier. You don't have to like guess what they like and what they don't like, and because nobody can read each other's minds, okay? So make it easy, talk about it on like the first few dates, and then you'll know what you want and what they want. And getting to the last topic, which is being single and thriving.
Oh, that one I love.
This is us at the moment.
Literally, though. And it's really about, like, it's kind of tying back to the first thing that we addressed, which is self-love and confidence. So feeling really fucking good about yourself and the life that you have built for yourself with your friends, your hobbies, your interests, maybe your work, whatever it is that you're spending your time on, make it so enjoyable that you don't even necessarily, like, need someone to make you even happier. Like, sure, let's agree, it's nice to have someone there, special someone we can talk to, we can date, we can spend time with, but if you're so busy living an amazing life, you don't need it as much, and that's really important.
Yeah, don't lose yourself in relationships. It's better to end something sooner rather than later and keep it carrying on. I did a video on breakups. If you want to watch that, I'll leave it in the link below or somewhere here. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. It was so fun to do. Make sure to keep up with my channel because we have a fun vlog coming soon of us going to Tomorrowland very soon on Friday. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please comment anything, share with your friends, and
everything is linked in the show notes
and description. And follow Laura, follow Novi, me. Links in bio. I love you guys so much.
Thank you for
We love
watching
you.
and spending time with us.